Where are your minions, Kodo?
I need neither Reptile nor Ermac to kill you.
Without them, you are finished.
Fight!
Point. I've never, because I'm trying to think of most fighting games, because you mentioned Tekken. I forgot that they had tried to make a film out of that. And I was just like, oh yeah, that didn't go over well at all. That kind of just like disappeared. And I think there's a Dragon Ball Z film that had come that they started to put together. So, you know, when people start, it just feels like trying. And I think audiences have started to, I guess we didn't respect them enough. So they started to really, you know, well, you can't just give us anything. You know, we really have to connect to it. And so that was a deciding factor for, because when Annihilation came out, I was trying to actually find them online and I couldn't even find them. Because now being connected to the game, I'm a fish out of water. So I have all these fans blowing up my Instagram and my Twitter, which I don't even use now that I'm like, okay, so I have to go do some work. I'm about to, you know, I'm getting back into gaming more because I'm a first person shooter guy, but I'm about to get into some Ultimate before my character gets released, so I know what the hell I'm talking about. Seriously.
I suppose that Mortal Kombat, it has a fan base, a multi-million fan base all over the world, from Brazil to Australia to Ireland to Germany. This is not a US sort of project at all. This is, you can go outside the USA, you could go to Argentina and Brazil, and you can mention the name Mortal Kombat, and people would have a conversation about you and tell you the whole sort of background sort of story about it. So in terms of that, you now are associated with the sort of Mortal Kombat sort of alumni. You're sort of involved in it, a sort of a franchise that seems to have sort of no sort of boundaries. It's like James Bond. Once you sign up, and you're along for the ride.
Yeah. You just know that there's something crazy about to happen. I got to watch some of the Comcast, so it's pretty amazing watching what they've done with the character and how it's being received.
Yeah, I suppose that Dempsey, the character Rain, I suppose he's a prince of Edina. He's a ninja in terms of he's not really your Scorpions or your sort of Sub-Zero type sort of ninjas. He's a royalty type of a guy, but still he still has that sort of costume and a sort of a character. So in terms of your knowledge of Rain, going back in terms of, you're all probably familiar with your Sub-Zeros and your Scorpions and that. Was it difficult to find that sort of background when you first auditioned for Rain, or what was the way it was described to you as?
No, so this is how it goes sometimes with projects like that. So firstly, I am completely humbled and excited at this point in my voiceover career because I've been mostly an on-camera actor. So voiceover has been a good 10 years of my life now, and it's just progressed. So I've gotten better. And so you get access to more projects. And when you're good and then they like you, they will give you other stuff. So when this project came up, I didn't know exactly what it was because a lot of the high profile projects, they're confidential. We don't know the names of them. We just have a background. And if you're smart enough and you can just pay attention depending upon how much they give you in your scripts, that you can kind of like, oh, is this that one game or what have you? And so I didn't know what this was until, you know, it happened April. I believe I read for it in early April. No, I'm sorry, in March. And I went out to a UFC fight. I'm a big martial arts fan. I went to go watch the Adesanya fight in Vegas. And I got a call from my agent that says, hey, it's for Mortal Kombat. They want you for the role of Rain. And I'm like, what? Oh my God. So it blew my world up. And then I said, oh, let me do some research. And I was just putting a home studio together. And I was just like, let them all be ready in a week, you know? And they were trying to figure everything out because they now had to switch everything up and people had to work from home instead of going to a studio like we would before. So I did a little bit of research, but I didn't know much because I had stopped playing the game so long ago. And so now I'm like, I initially was nervous. And I was like, oh no, it's a fighting game. And I got to read up. And then of course, the developers and the voice director, they were able to work with me and just give me some backstory. So I refer to Rain as a regal assassin. He's not a ninja, you know, he's a regal assassin because he's rightful heir as far as he's concerned. You know, his father just kind of did his thing, left him out there to go figure it out. And as he learned, the rage built inside of him, and he's got a lot of swag, and I love that about him. So yeah, man, I am definitely a fish out of water, but I have no problem being a fish out of water. I'm swimming right now. So I'm doing some research. I'm watching interviews. I'm learning. I'm replying to fans. It's awesome.
And I suppose Dempsey, in terms of the character Rain, when you see the sort of animated projection of what he looks like in terms of new Mortal Kombat movie, are you sort of blown back in terms of what they can do now in terms of visual effects for computer games as well? I suppose the big reveal has gone down very well all over the world.
Yes, because they have versions, which I didn't know. So in the Comcast, if some of the people who, when this goes up, they can look at the NetherRealm, I believe, YouTube page, and they've put together with the developers. They've gone over a lot of the moves and let you know all of the things that you can do with them. And there, from what I've seen, there are 3 versions as you get into the game that his moves will progress, his fatalities progress. There are even the nuances of how the characters get up off the ground, the fans have figured out. And so there's more, from what I was told, there are more entry combos for Rain than a lot of the other characters. And the Qatar that he uses, which is funny because I train Southeast Asian martial arts, Filipino Eskrima, Kali, some of those martial arts, we use blades, we use a karambit. And his movements are a lot of fun to watch him because there's some similarities in some of the martial arts that I've trained. And he is probably one of the more layered characters from what I was hearing. And so, like I said, man, I'm still learning. So I hope the fans will appreciate that. I'm trying my best to respect Rain and learn while I go. So.
Yeah, and I suppose that Dempsey, one thing we should know about Rain, if you're not aware of this, you probably are aware, he was the former love of Princess Titania in terms of that. Yes. So obviously,
I'm still learning. I just heard that. Yes, and he betrayed Melina in part 10, and so there's a little twist. So he was having a little fun. He was breaking some hearts apparently, and that can get you killed in the dunya.
So obviously, Dempsey, that makes him a mortal sort of enemy towards Liu Kang as well. So obviously, that brings up exciting sort of
right. Thank you.
So that brings up exciting opportunities going further down the line, obviously, with the release of the new Mortal Kombat movie in 2021. And obviously, central to that, obviously, are going to be Liu Kang and Princess Titania, because you can't have a Mortal Kombat movie, obviously, without the two. So obviously, if they're looking towards backstories and looking to the backstories or flashbacks of Princess Titania's sort of past, it could bring up opportunities or cameo roles for a guest appearance of Rain or something.
That would be, hey, from your mouth to God's ears, Jim. Let's just go ahead and keep putting out in the universe, brother. I'm all about that.
Users were looking on there and saying we need to go back through the nostalgia of Princess Titania. Let's get on to Dempsey there on the phone. Would it be a 2 thumbs up for Dempsey Pappion in terms of a cameo guest appearance in the new blockbuster movie?
I would love that. I would love that. I think the fans would probably love that too. So we're going to see if we get some rounds on that. I have no idea in regards to the new film coming up. As I was doing more research with this, I had found it was coming.
New Line Cinemas are producing it.
Yeah, no, it is live action, correct?
Yeah. Dempsey, in terms of Mortal Kombat, the new movie, I saw Louis Tan was sort of was going to be an actor that's appearing, and he told me he didn't tell. He said in his previous interview, didn't tell me, but he said that it's sort of gone more R-rated, more down the lines of Dark Knight, sort of Joker, that sort of genre, and the sort of a more adult sort of teen sort of thing. Is that the way probably the public are more acceptable to those sort of scenarios and those sort of movies? Because back in the 1990s, as you know yourself, there was only so much you could do in terms that was accessible in terms of the movie world. And obviously, Mortal Kombat could only push the boundaries so much. But I suppose those restrictions aren't there now in the 21st century that were there previously. So it means that they can really get to the real hardcore sort of fan base in terms of what they're producing.
100%. Yes, that is, and look at the name of the company, NetherRealm, so that is most likely where it should be headed, because right now we've got, and back to what we spoke about earlier, why Street Fighter didn't do as well as Mortal Kombat is because Mortal Kombat, the game had already had that dark, gritty appeal. And so a Dark Knight and a Joker vibe, a very gradient DC, like ominous tone, dark scenery is going to be necessary for this, because the soundtrack is going to be amazing. There's going to be so much ominous appeal to it, you know, so every scene is going to be just littered with the potential of uh-oh. So I don't feel it needs to be any lighter than an R. It makes no sense otherwise, because the people who are going to go see it are going for the gore. We're going for the violence, and that's just, you know, what it's about.
And I suppose that given the sort of current climate in the world, we don't know whether cinemas will be open or not. But are you going to be one of those sprawled across your couch with the popcorn and
Of course.
and eagerly pricking the channel and
Yeah.
the new movie to come out, and say in terms of, because obviously you're involved in that sort of Mortal Kombat universe now. It's not really the past we're talking about for you; it's the present and the future.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. And that is the potential that this game has, what it has for not just for me, but for everyone involved with it and how they're doing it. And so what I'm seeing with the introduction of the new characters and all the DLC that's available with these games, and how the crossover with films, it's unlimited. And I've been in this game 20 something, about 21 years, 22 years. And what I've noticed is, if there's an opportunity for anything to be carried on, it's going to be carried on. You know, we're past the, oh no, we made a sequel kind of vibe, you know, as audience members. We look for the new thing now. We almost are hoping that you get us appealed into the next thing. And so Mortal Kombat's not going to have a problem keeping a fan base at all. So yeah, I'm happy. The universe is it's thriving. So I was at the store looking for the old games, and the guy was like, "No, we got this new Scorpion Revenge, and we got this anime." I was like, "I didn't even know there were other animated films." I go, "Dang, dude."